Well, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is scheduled to be sentenced on September 18th to possible prison time. I don't think so. And I don't think the Democrats really want that to happen. But we will be doing a little prediction. If Donald Trump does go to jail, what does it look like? Will he still run? Is he eligible and everything like that? And my guess is that yes, Donald Trump would still be running from prison if it came to that. But it seems like, based off not only this article, but just the general sentiment and how badly the initial situation with all of this when Trump got charged with the felonies, 34 of them. Notice the smart Democrats have kind of told the dumb ones, you got to stop saying Trump's a felon, everything like that, because it's hurt them. Trump went up by like a point and a half in the polls after it came out. Because remember, Andrew Cuomo and all the liberals who were actually honest, they said, this is just pathetic. This is ridiculous. This is like election interference. And Trump's a political prisoner if this actually happens, if he actually goes to jail. So I think libs probably want this to be delayed. And it looks like the most realistic thing is for this sentence to be delayed. There's the idea, well, do they put him on house arrest, things like that? I don't even think they can do that. I think it would just get delayed until a later date, very likely, obviously, after the election. And at that point, even if something did happen to where Trump loses and he couldn't pardon himself, nobody expects, even these top experts, they say there's no way, based on the how unprecedented this crime really is. There's nothing to compare it to. The statute of limitations was already done. You're going back to 2015. Remember, nobody cared about this. They were trying to bring this into the spotlight. And I mean, honestly, this is just my speculation. I think they probably just told Stormy Daniels to just start making stuff up. Because remember, Stormy Daniels went on CNN, started like trying to like fake cry, and she's just like, you know what? I actually don't remember if it's consensual now. That's what Stormy they were probably telling her, like, nobody cares about this, honey. Just start making stuff up. So then Stormy was like, well, I don't know if it's consensual. And of course, nobody buys that. Will Donald Trump be sentenced to prison? Donald Trump is unlikely to be jailed for the Stormy Daniels falsifying records case, legal experts have said. And of course, they also use Donald Trump, the first president to be charged with a felony. They don't understand how ridiculous that is. There's been presidents that have done things 100 times worse than this case. They don't get charged with anything. It just goes to show you there is a witch hunt against Trump. The entire thing, independents come out. I mean, everything that happened with Alvin Bragg, where he runs and he says, yes, we got to hold people accountable. He's like dangling cheese to New York City, and he knows they're all heavy liberal. They want Trump in jail. They really don't care if it's legal or not, or if it's right or not. They don't want Trump to have a fair trial. They already think he's Hitler. So Alvin Bragg is running, and he's like, I've presided over these big cases. I can get Trump. Don't worry. And then during the case, it's like a square peg into a round hole. They have to elevate the charges to felonies from misdemeanors. It's totally unprecedented. Remember, this is like a 7-year-old thing that they're digging up, and it's like, well, if Donald Trump is this horrible person, why is this the only case that they can get on him? But no, Donald Trump's Hitler. You're right. Kamala Harris is just copying Donald Trump's campaign policies and everything, but Trump is Hitler. You're right. No, that totally makes sense. Trump is due to be sentenced on September 18th, less than 2 months before the election. And you can see there is going to be a lot of issues if Trump did get sentenced to jail for the records violation. I think the courts would do whatever is necessary to prevent it. It's uncharted waters. So that's according to a legal expert. The delay in sentencing may push Trump's sentencing to after the November election, depending on what happens with the judge and things like that. So you can just see the overall article. I think it's going to be delayed. I think everyone thinks it's going to be delayed. Liberals want it to be delayed. Trump wants it to be delayed. But let's just see, for sake of argument, what my prediction would be if Trump went to jail and how would that really go. I think there would be a major movement in the United States. It's probably already happening as we speak after the assassination attempt. Remember, liberals came out and like for a day, they're like, oh, we're so sorry that this happened to Trump. Political violence is never the answer. But then they never said anything after it. They've kept it quiet. And now you've got their supporters saying that it was fake and that Trump staged it. And then they say, well, it's the Republicans. They're all the conspiracy theorists. They fully bought into the Russian hoax. They think Trump staged the assassination where a bullet goes whizzing by his head. And Thomas Crooks was a very far leftist. We've got his Gab messages. Don't allow them to do that. They're going to say, well, he's a registered Republican. That's the most ridiculous thing ever. Do I need to read the Gab messages from 2021 when he's got all the bullshit our politics talking points straight from Reddit talking about how Biden's immigration policy is going to be good? How did that age, by the way? That's what Crook said in 2021. on social media. So, but then they never talk about it. But we remember the assassination attempt. It galvanized the country. It brought everyone together. They've suppressed it. But imagine this happens. He goes to jail for something that liberals have already admitted that was totally biased and he'd be a political prisoner. Again, Andrew Cuomo said the only reason Trump was being charged and the charges were elevated from misdemeanors to felony was because his name was Donald Trump. This would not happen to anyone else. Alvin Bragg, it's all political. It's all totally illegal. And they like brag about doing it. Bragg was bragging about doing it. I mean, he's like, get me elected. And then his prosecutors are like, listen, these are not, we cannot make this a felony. And he's just like, just do it anyways. Just jam it. This is totally unprecedented. We're going to elevate all the charges and he's going to get 34 felony charges. So then they do that. They label Trump this felon. They say he's the first president to ever be a felon. And Trump goes up in the polls. And now the smart ones have shut up and they've told all the dumb ones to stop calling Trump a felon because it only helps him. And it goes to show you the two-tiered system that we have where you've got all these liberals, all these Democrats that have done things 100 times worse than Trump. Trump's an angel compared to these people. Remember, nothing happened to Trump at all before he ran. He was perfectly clean, but now he's running. Now he's he's got Elon Musk. It's the freedom movement. He's got Tulsi Gabbard, who just endorsed him. This is truly a monumental thing. He's got a super team going up against Kamala Harris. They asked Kamala Harris, where are you going? She's like about to walk upstairs. She's at the airport. They're asking her, what's next? What are you going to do next? You've done nothing. I'm just telling you, this is what the media is asking her. They're like, honey, you've done nothing. You haven't done one press conference. What's next? And she's like, I'm going to walk up these stairs. So that's what he's got a super team going up against that. And then Walz, just the blubbering dummy who is just, every time I talk about Walz, I have to say he's a buffoon. He's a dummy. He stumbles over his own feet. He's got a communist bow and people are exposing Walz, but it's like, it's not even worth it. Walz is like 10 times worse than Tim Kaine because he's just so much dumber. And it's like, Walz is like, oh, I'm not a good debater. I know I'm going to lose to Vance in the debate. He says he's not a good debater. And so now Kamala's trying to back out of the debate as well. So let's take a look at what would happen. This is not really biased. This is just what would happen. I'm telling you, if Trump goes to jail, there would be a major movement in this country. I already think Trump's going to have a massive rally, probably at the Daytona International Speedway. It's going to be about 200,000 people. Okay, remember, Trump drew 100K in New Jersey in the spring, so he's going to probably double that if he does it. This is how big the movement is because, we're fighting communism. It's just like the Soviet Union Cold War. Now it's in the country. And so they are communists. Why do you think they're telling her, don't say anything, don't reveal your policies? This is so important. That's what top Democrats are telling Kamala. It's all come out. Now Jake Tapper's reporting. He's saying the polls are all wrong. He said, I just talked to Democratic internals. They say Trump's up in Pennsylvania. You've got all these liberals under it just yelling at Tapper. They're all eating themselves. But so let me do this in prediction here. So when it comes to Nevada, I think Trump will win Nevada. If he goes to prison, this is if he goes to prison. Trump takes Nevada relatively easily, probably by about 5 or 6 points because there's a major uprising. He takes Arizona. This is with or without him going to jail, by the way. He takes both these states. I think he probably wins New Mexico very slightly by about 2 points. There was internal polls that had Trump up over Biden in New Hampshire by a half point. And imagine he goes to jail. It just gets elevated even further. And by the way, people think Trump can still win Minnesota even if he doesn't go to jail. But again, this is just a monumental thing. I think he swipes Minnesota. That is Walz's home state. I think he takes the second district in Nebraska as well, which he's currently probably trailing by 2 or 3 points. He's going to sweep the Rust Belt, we would expect, and win all these states. Maybe Michigan would be close, but all these states relatively easily. Pennsylvania probably by 3 or 4 if he goes to jail. Virginia with Glenn Youngkin. It's all paper ballots now. People think Trump's going to win Virginia. I think he probably will win Virginia either way, but if he goes to jail, there's going to be that extra boost because everyone knows how ridiculous it is. This is why the Democrats are not going to do this, but I'm just telling you, this is what would happen. You do have North Carolina going to Trump as well, along with Georgia. I do think Trump would also take New Hampshire. I think I'd give Harris Maine at large, but I think Trump keeps that district if he goes to jail. And then I do think Trump possibly wins New Jersey. I do think Harris probably would keep Delaware in that scenario. So, this is honestly pretty realistic, I would say, about Trump 359. This is the uprising. This is why they're not going to send Trump to jail. This is why they've stopped saying that Trump is a convicted felon because it fell on deaf ears and Americans, especially independent people, did not accept it. Liberals accepted it, but no one else did because they see the bias against Trump and just all the jury, the jurors they got, that district that where they got the jurors from, the 12 jurors, the unbiased, it was a 95% liberal area. Come on, guys, really? Like, it's just like, and then the way they charged Trump, it was like four of them agreed on one charge. Another four of them agreed on a different charge. That wasn't the first charge, but they agreed on a different charge. And then the other four, the final four jurors, agreed on neither of the first two, but different charges, and they combined it all together. This is how ridiculous it is. They know that. This is why they're not going to send Trump to jail. Trump's going to get it delayed until after the election, and then Trump will win and then pardon himself. And this is the type of stuff that Elon Musk is going to be facing. They're trying to jail everyone that believes in free speech. They're doing it right now. You see the Telegram founder getting jailed as well for they just charge you with whatever, and then they get the general public to be like, oh, he's a criminal. They don't even look into it. It's the same thing that happened to Trump. They just label him a criminal, and this is the result. There's going to be a big uprising against it if Trump does go to jail. I think there is anyways. There's going to be a big uprising anyways, just because we're sick and tired of this. We're tired of them pushing their communism, and especially how they're doing it now, because they know it's unpopular, so they don't say any policy. And now the strategy is they're going to try and change all the rules on the debate and then blame it on Trump if if it doesn't happen. They're going to try and say, well, no, now we want all these different rules, and if it doesn't happen, we're blaming it on Trump for backing out. But again, this is what they do. Remember, they're pampered children. Trump had to debate Biden in June, which has never happened. Trump's like, let's just do 3 debates. This is how it always happens. We'll do 2 debates in September, 1 in October, or 1 in September, 2 in October. And the Democrats are like, no. We're only doing 2 debates. One of them has to be in June. I'll agree. And then it's got to be muted mics, but now it can't be muted mics. This is what they do. It's just they have to have everything go their way. So now that's why they've come out and they've said no muted mics. We're trying to change all the rules so Kamala doesn't have to debate. Why would Kamala want to debate? She flip-flopped on everything that she believed in 2019. This is absurd. So I think Trump should do the debate no matter what, because he can embarrass her and just, I mean, the whole idea of the debate is just the idea that Trump would back out of a debate. Why would he? She's afraid to even talk to Jake Tapper or Rachel Maddow. And I'm not even kidding you that she won't do interviews with anyone, not even the liberal people. So I do think she will eventually do something, in terms of these maybe a press conference. I don't even know, but she said she's going to maybe do something with Fox News. She was going to her plane or whatever, and Fox people were just like, when are you doing the Fox News interview? And she's just like, we're setting it up or something, but we're still waiting. Maybe it happens in September. I don't know. I know Trump's got a town hall, I believe, on Thursday night in Wisconsin, and then a few other events here this coming week. And apparently Trump's just going to be in 2 states every day. He's hitting the trail hardcore. He's going to have huge rallies, I'm expecting, in Virginia, because that's going to be a big state. Obviously, North Carolina, Georgia, the 3 Rust Belt states, Arizona, Nevada. I mean, listen, if you can get 100K, if you can get 150K, that has to be utilized, because you've got that over Harris. Harris cannot draw that much because of the communist ideology. So Trump needs to utilize the fact that he can draw 200, 300, 400, like 500,000 people, and have a huge event. Yes, the safety is going to be a concern, but if you can do it safely, have a huge event, and you've got Trump there, you've got Elon Musk, you've got Tulsi, you've got RFK Jr., you've got Vance, you've got all of the Republicans coming together, DeSantis, and it's a true super team going up against the dude, Walz, who you just can't even put 2 steps together. He trips over himself. He can't. How long was Walz's speech? He spoke 10 minutes. His VP speech was 10 minutes. Harris's was 30 minutes, and half of it was her talking about her childhood, and there's just no policy. So this is just such a massive blowout. This is Ohio State taking on Tim Walz, elementary school football team here. This is a true annihilation. I mean, how can it not be? Elon Musk, Trump, Vance, Tulsi. I mean, who do they have? You've got Gavin Newsom saying, oh my, this is what Gavin Newsom said. I'm not gonna kill you. Gavin Newsom said during the DNC, he basically said, yeah, I'm a horrible politician. That's basically what he said. They asked him, they said, why is California such a shithole? And he's like, yeah, it's my fault. We had horrible policies. That's basically what happened. That's what they have. So, and now Newsom has to say, that's coming from upper Democrats who are telling Newsom, they're like, look, dumbass, you're actually so bad, we're going to lose electoral votes because of you when the 2030 census comes out. So you need to actually do something because this is really bad with the amount of people we're losing from your state. Now, maybe they all go to Colorado, but that's not happening. They're also going to Texas. That's why Texas is gaining electoral votes. And Colorado is probably going to gain another electoral vote as well, when the census happens. But this is really what's going on right now. I don't think Trump is going to be jailed. I don't think Trump wants to be jailed, obviously, but I do think it would help him. And I don't think the Democrats want Trump to be jailed either. I think if you're a Democrat, the way this is swung in terms of optics is Trump pushes the sentencing back, and then you say, well, Trump's a coward, and he's just running from the fact that he's going to go to prison. That's what I think Democrats are going to do, when deep down, the real strategy is make sure he doesn't go to jail, because that's going to be a political prisoner, and everybody knows it. And that's why when we saw Trump get the felony charges, he went up in the polls. With the independent people, it's not just the Republicans, it's the independent people. And anytime Trump got arrested in 2023, he would go up, and the mugshot, he went up, and people galvanize around that. And the assassination attempt, they've tried silencing it. They say they blame it on Trump's rhetoric when they're calling Trump Hitler every day. And the Lincoln Project puts out a video with Trump and Hitler the day after the assassination attempt, but then they say it's Trump's fault he got shot. This is all the gaslighting, and this is the results that you're going to get with or without probably, Trump going to jail. I think it's going to be a solid Trump victory. The stuff we're getting out of Pennsylvania is amazing in terms of the polling numbers, the voter registration, same thing with Arizona. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.